Welcome to the deep dive. We're here again, digging into the sources you send us, looking for those key insights, those real aha moments, so you don't have to sift through everything yourself.
Exactly. Getting straight to the good stuff.
So today, we've got something really interesting. It's a source you shared, a Spanish podcast, actually. Features a grandmother, Leonor, sharing wisdom with her granddaughter, Paula.
Right. El jardín de los pensamientos mágicos, I think it was called. The Garden of Magical Thoughts. Lovely title.
It is, and our mission today is to explore the teachings of Confucius as they're presented in this sort of narrative way.
It's a great way to approach it, taking ancient philosophy and making it accessible, even personal.
Totally. So we'll look at who Confucius was, his main ideas first, and then dive into the story Leonor tells, which kind of illustrates it all.
Sounds like a plan. Where do we start with Confucius himself?
Okay, so the source Leonor really paints him as this, well, exceptional man from ancient China, the kingdom of Lu, over 2,500 years ago.
That's a long time ago. We're talking serious history here.
Absolutely. And what's stressed is he wasn't, royalty or some big general. He was a teacher.
That feels significant. His power wasn't military or political, it was intellectual, moral.
Yeah, exactly. His goal, fundamentally, was just to make the world better, teaching people how to be good, how to be just, how to be kind. It wasn't about grand battles. It was about everyday interactions, character.
And how did he figure out what to teach? Did he just decide?
Well, the source highlights his love of learning, but also intense observation. He studied people, how they interacted, what caused problems, what led to peace or, happiness.
So he was a keen observer of human nature, trying to find patterns maybe, ways to improve things practically.
Seems like it. And from that came his key teachings. The podcast mentions things like respect for others, especially elders and teachers, which kind of makes sense.
In a context where wisdom was passed down.
Right. And also a huge emphasis on truthfulness, acting with justice, integrity, basically.
Being honest, doing the right thing, foundational stuff.
And also, crucially, thinking about how your actions affect other people, not just living in your own bubble.
That's a big one. The ripple effect of our behavior.
It all kind of comes together in his famous saying, which Leonor quotes, "No hagas a otros lo que no te gustaría que te hiciera a ti."
The golden rule.
Exactly. Treat others as you want to be treated. It's so simple yet, well, profound.
And it pops up everywhere, doesn't it? Across cultures, across time. Shows how fundamental it is.
It really does. Another thing I liked was his belief in potential. He thought everyone could learn and improve.
Oh, that's optimistic. So it didn't matter where you came from, rich, poor.
Nope. According to this source, he believed everyone had that capacity. It wasn't fixed. You could always get better, learn more.
That puts a big emphasis on education and self-cultivation then. It's about effort, not just birth.
Definitely. And his teachings, they're still around, still relevant after 2.5 millennia. It was pretty amazing, offering guidance for, well, just living better.
The podcast calls him a gardener of humanity, right? Planting seeds of wisdom. I like that metaphor.
Me too. And Leonor shares 3 specific quotes she calls magical. Want to hear them?
Yeah, definitely. Let's hear the magic.
Okay, first one. Choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. In Spanish, elige un trabajo que te guste. You know the rest.
Ah, yes. Finding joy and purpose in your work. That resonates.
Totally. Then our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Nuestra mayor gloria.
Resilience, bouncing back, that's huge. We all stumble.
We certainly do. And the last one. Learning without thinking is useless. Thinking without learning is dangerous. Aprender sin pensar.
Ooh, that's a good one. Knowledge plus critical thinking. You need both. Can't just absorb facts, can't just speculate wildly.
Precisely. They're short, but they pack a punch.
They really do. Little nuggets of deep thought. And I guess this leads us into the story part, the Garden of Magical Thoughts itself.
Yep, exactly. This is where Leonor uses this narrative to make Confucius's ideas really concrete for Paula, her granddaughter.
And Paula's like a typical kid. Curious, maybe gets discouraged sometimes.
Yeah, she's described as curious, imaginative, but yeah, she gets easily knocked down by setbacks. The source even gives examples of her negative self-talk.
Oh, like what?
Things like, no sirvo para eso, sort of, I'm no good at this, or I'm useless for that. And soy mal en todo, I'm bad at everything. Even nadie me quiere, nobody loves me.
Oof, harsh stuff. But, sadly, probably relatable for a lot of people, not just kids. We can be our own worst critics.
So true. So Paul's feeling down, she broke her skates or something, wanders into a forest. Standard story setup, right?
Right, the journey into the unknown.
And she meets this wise woman, Maestra Verónica,
Yeah.
a teacher figure.
Okay, the mentor arrives.
And Veronica introduces this central metaphor. She says, Paula's heart is like a garden.
A garden. Okay, I think I see where this is going.
And thoughts are the seeds. She shows Paula two types, shiny golden seeds for positive thoughts and dark, shadowy seeds for negative ones.
So every thought you have, you're planting something. I can't do this, plants a dark seed, I'll give it a try, plants a golden one.
You got it. It's a really visual way to understand the impact of our thinking.
And the dark seeds, they grow into weeds. Is that the idea?
Exactly. Weeds like fear, sadness, anger, they choke out the good stuff, the flowers.
Makes sense. So the key is choosing which seeds to plant, consciously cultivating the positive.
That's the first big secret, yeah. Paula decides to start each day choosing a golden seed, thinking things like, today I'm going to smile, or today I'll try something new, I'll be brave.
Taking active control of your inner landscape, that's powerful. What's the next secret?
Embracing imperfection. This comes up when Paula's trying to build a little cabin out of branches and it keeps falling down. She gets super frustrated.
The familiar frustration of things not going perfectly.
Right. But Maestra Veronica points out the branches themselves. None are perfectly straight. Some are crooked, some thin, some thick. They're all different.
And that's not a flaw.
It's what makes them unique and part of the forest's beauty. It's a lesson in seeing value in imperfection, even in mistakes.
So mistakes aren't failures, they're just part of the process, another way to learn.
Exactly. And Paula actually ends up building this really cool, unique cabin because she uses the crooked branches. She works with the imperfections.
I love that. Turning perceived weaknesses into strengths, or at least character. Okay, what's the third secret?
Flowing like a river. Resilience again, but maybe adaptability too. Veronica takes Paula to a stream
Okay.
and asks her to watch the water. When it hits a rock or a log, what does it do?
It doesn't just stop. It goes around or over. It finds a way.
Right. It adapts. It keeps moving. So the lesson is when you hit obstacles, don't just give up. Find another path. Be adaptable. Keep flowing.
Don't get stuck. Find a workaround. That's a really useful life skill.
Right.
Water is persistent.
It really is.
Yeah.
So those are the three secrets. And to help Paula remember, Veronica gives her this little magical notebook.
With notes inside.
Yeah, filled with these special phrases for tough moments. Little reminders.
Like affirmations. What kind of phrases?
Things like, you are stronger than you imagine. Every small step is a great victory. Everything starts with a beautiful thought.
Those are good. Simple, encouraging.
Yeah, and no matter if today was difficult, tomorrow will be a new garden to plant. That one's nice. Connects back to the metaphor.
It does. A chance for a fresh start every day.
Also, be light even if the day is cloudy, and mistake is not the end, it is the beginning of something better.
Wow. They're like little pockets of wisdom reinforcing those main lessons. Positive thinking, imperfection, perseverance.
Exactly. And Leonor, the grandmother telling the story, she wraps it up by saying that living by these ideas doesn't just help you, it helps others too. It spreads joy.
That ripple effect again. Tending your own garden helps other gardens flourish too. It's a lovely interconnected idea, tying Confucius's social harmony focus back into the personal journey.
It really ties it all together beautifully, how this, seemingly simple kid's story passed down connects back to these profound ideas from Confucius from ages ago.
Yeah, it's quite something. The core takeaways are so practical, aren't they? The power you have in choosing your thoughts, the freedom in accepting you're not perfect, the strength in just keeping going.
Absolutely. So maybe the final thought for you listening is something like this. How might really consciously tending to your own garden of thoughts, how might that change things? Not just for you, but in how you interact with everyone else.
Yeah, what impact could that have? What kind of seeds are you going to choose to plant today? Makes you think.